any more of the World Cup because the United States does what the United States does all the time and goes in there and just has the "we're happy to be here" and allows a highly inferior Wales team to tie us. Um, and that was 1-1. Yeah, we should have beaten that team by 4 goals. We should have. I watched a little bit of it. We should have dominated that game. And yeah, we didn't. And here's the deal. We're not going to beat England. Of course we're not going to beat England. We're not going to beat Iran. Well, we'll probably beat Iran. But then it's going to come down to, if Wales beats Iran by 6 and we do what we always do, which is Iran's up 2-0 after 6 minutes. How is this possible? And then the U.S. frantically shoots. The U.S. had a goal in the 90th plus 8th minute with 2 seconds left to take the 3-2 win. Wales is going to beat them by 5. And then we're not going to beat England. Oh, gosh. It is just, it just, I don't know how you change this. I don't know how you change this. Did you catch any of the game there, Patrick?
I've not. I've been here all afternoon, so I did not watch any of the soccer game today.
Well, it really is just, it is unfortunate because it's kind of one of those things where here we are. And 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. By the way, coming up this hour, Bree Johnson's going to join us from MGSB Justice. We'll talk about the Passing the Speak Out Act. We'll talk to her about what that's about. Terry Zila, it's our Thanksgiving week. Terry John Zila, our food guy, he's going to join us in the 4 o'clock hour to talk food, and more food. And that's kind of how we do it all the time. I was going to save this for a little bit later on the show, but I guess I'll just pick, since I'm piggybacking on sports disappointment, why not go with the Vikings too? On Friday, I said the same thing. I said the Vikings will get destroyed because they have a bad habit after just a stellar win. They had no chance at winning, of just sitting there daydreaming the next week about how great we are. It's like Calvin and Hobbes. Did you ever read Calvin and Hobbes when you were a kid?
I did, yes.
Do you remember the episodes where Calvin would be in his classroom and the teacher would be trying to talk to him and he's just sitting there daydreaming into oblivion about how great things are and all this, and everything is, people are screaming at him and he doesn't care. He just daydreaming into the future. That's Calvin. Well, that was the Vikings yesterday. The Vikings were just sitting there going, "We won last week. Where did you see us get the touchdown in the end zone? Oh, did you see Justin Jefferson's catch? It was amazing." And meanwhile, in the background, Dallas scores, Dallas scores, Dallas scores, Dallas scores. We're amazing. We're the best. I'm looking at the ticker tape parade already. Dallas scores, Dallas scores, Dallas scores.
How about we spread the wealth a little bit? How about the Gophers once again not able to beat Iowa when it matters? Oh, still haven't played Wisconsin, but that game doesn't really matter anymore beyond the Axe. But can't beat them when it matters either. Was where I was going with that.
Yeah, so. No, it is just a stellar. This is why it's easy for me to ignore sports, is because I don't get a lot of value. I mean, even in the stuff like the U.S. This was the chance. Wales, easy to beat team. And it is. Don't give me those, you're underestimating. No, it's Wales. For God's sakes. Come on, stop it. We should have run that team off the field. And we just were glad to be there again. And now, 90 plus minutes into our first World Cup, in 10 years, there is no need for us to watch any more of the World Cup. Seriously, I'm dead serious. There is no need for you to watch any more of the World Cup. If you're a U.S. fan, if you like soccer, or if you're a fan of Wales or one of these other teams, it's going to be exciting for you. But like I said, what's going to happen is Iran will be up 2-0 on us after 6 minutes, and we'll have to frantically come back and barely win, and then we'll get laughed off the field with England, and we'll just, hey, isn't it great we're here? No, we're the U.S. freaking A, man. We're the most wealthy country on the planet. If we put our mind to this, if we didn't have people that were more concerned about their individualism as opposed to the freaking team and playing for the country, as that's the problem that we have in this country. We saw it at the Olympics, especially like snowboarding and stuff like that. It's more about the individual. It's not about the country. And if we put our mind to it, we'd be at least a semifinalist, probably at least a quarterfinalist by now, and we're just not.
The thing about the U.S., of course, they do this. Wales has one guy. They let the one guy on that team who can beat them today.
Well, and they were and yeah, I already can hear it. But Matt, they're good. They're under. No, they're not. No, they're not. We're the U.S. freaking A. This would be like us. It was like when we were playing with the CONCACAF Cup, the thing, and we lost to Jamaica, or not. It was not Jamaica. It was like Grenada.
I think it was Ghana back in the
no, not Ghana. This was in the North America, South America thing, or the North America, Central America one, and we lost to them, and just like. And so, let me explain how this works. Okay, you're in a little group. Okay, you got to play each team in that group once. If we would have beaten Wales, we beat Iran. We're basically a shoo-in to go in, and if we manage to pull off the upset of England, we would be the number one seed. The second team comes out of this bracket is going to be basically, the team that basically can win all the games except for England. So all we had to do was beat Wales, a highly inferior Wales team, and all we had to do was then beat Iran, which is we should be able to do. And then even if England beat us, we would move on. Instead, we're going to watch Wales move on because there's, I can just see the failure coming. And I'm sorry. People are like, oh, come on, Matt. No, how many times have we gone out there with supposedly a great team? We get ranked 12th, 13th best in the 9th, or 13th, 14th, 15th best on the planet. And all of a sudden, here comes the 37th best team oh my gosh, what an upset. And all our guys are sitting there saying to themselves, did we start? Oh, okay. I'm not a sports guy. But you see, this is why I'm not a sports guy. This is why it's easy to not live your life around sports in Minnesota. Even the freaking Vikings. I'm sorry. They're going to be the underdog playing the Patriots this upcoming week on Thanksgiving night, and they're likely going to get beat badly on Thanksgiving night. And they'll because the rest of the NFC North is bad, they'll limp into the playoffs and then get absolutely throttled by some 7-8 team or 7-9 team or 7-10 team or something like that shouldn't even be there. We'll pull off the upset and knock us off, and we're like, oh, gee willikers. Well, I guess there's next year. Yeah. See, this is why. And you brought the Gophers. Gopher football. This was their year. This was their year. And I'll give you the Penn State. I'll give you the Illinois loss. I'll give you both of those. Should have beaten Purdue. You should have beaten Iowa. And by the way, can I ask this question? All right. Has there ever been a game where a running back ran 100 or 250 yards and the team lost? Has that ever happened before?
They only scored one freaking touchdown even. And was like, how did they do that?
All you have to do is keep the ball on the ground. It's a long field goal. You could do it. And for some reason, you give it to the kid that can't pass the ball at all because the other kid doesn't want to, is apparently, the Byron Buxton of the college football and gets injured constantly. And, you allow a really and by the way, it should have been 17-10. The guy didn't run out of bounds. It should have been 17-10. But needless to say, here we are once again. Just you're instead of saying to yourself, boy, it's an exciting, looking forward to the Vikings, looking forward to the Gophers, looking for the World Cup. It's now, okay, so will the Wild do anything this year? Will the T-Wolves do anything? No. Okay, well, I guess I'll wait for the Twins. Well, they're not going to do anything again. Well, all right. Ugh.
But at least the Twins have those nice new uniforms.
That uniform, by the way, they were sold out. They were sold out of the Twin Cities one. They sold out of the Twin Cities one. How in the world do you tie Wales? Seriously, how in the world do you tie Wales? You have no heart. And I hate saying it. Someone's got to say it. someone's got to say it. They just don't have the heart to play these games. And, Wales does. And the rest of the world does. And like I said, I'd say there's a decent chance Iran beats us. And I think we're going to get laughed off the field with England. So we come home and act like they did something great. No. It's not a surprise that the U.S. women's soccer has a bigger following in this country because they take it seriously when they go to these things. They get upset when they lose to even a good team. They get upset. It just is, no point in watching the rest of the World Cup. There is absolutely no point because they're not going to go anywhere. And more than likely, the rest of these games are going to be 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. So I got a question for you about Twitter. And someone posted this on Twitter, ironically, and I've been thinking about it and kicking around in my head more and more, and I'm kind of wondering what's really going on here. Is Elon Musk's whole goal to actually kill Twitter? And I understand it's like, man, he's $44 billion. Yeah, but he's been bankrolled by the Saudis on that. I think the Saudis were his partner in on that deal, if I remember correctly. And he has these billionaires that are advising him out in Silicon Valley that are these far-right conservative tech billionaires. I think one of them is Thiel, if I'm not mistaken. And so they're advising him. So I'm going to guess they're going to cushion the blow as well. Is the whole point of this to kill Twitter for this reason? A lot of people have become dependent on Twitter. Whether it's not just news. I mean, my gosh, I was the journalists alone who basically almost use Twitter exclusively as their news research, which is kind of disturbing, but it's true. The fact that the news uses Twitter more than probably is comfortable. That unions use Twitter to help organize and coordinate and win over public support. That Democratic candidates use Twitter a lot to help coordinate their campaigns and stuff like that. And it's not that, Republicans don't do it, but at the same time, this is really the epicenter for a lot of coordination and a lot of the media to basically get the news that you see. And so it would do a tremendous amount of damage, at least in the short term, until other social media sites got going, to knock off one of the big ones. Now, I want to remind people, the Republicans have been trying to control message in this country for a long, long time. And once again, talk about long game. Republicans have a long game, which is pretty amazing. They basically, they tried to get control of TV, radio, and newspapers. They did this through a three-prong attack. And I've talked about this before. First was they got rid of the fairness doctrine. And if you don't know what the fairness doctrine was, we used to have a law in this country that if you had a radio station or a television station or a newspaper, that you had to put forward opposing viewpoints. And what it ended up doing was you ended up creating this really diverse and really great radio and television. It was really good. You'd have like the liberal sports host and the conservative gardener, and they had all these kind of unique things. And it was a much better diverse conversation. And under Reagan, they got rid of the fairness doctrine. And immediately that got rid of quality and replaced it with ideology. And so immediately, and what their argument was this, that, why are we stopping? If I just want to put conservative voices on my radio station, why are you guys not doing that? Why I should be able to do that? And their argument was that more people wanted to listen to conservatives than liberals. And basically there was actually some studies that were done after this that showed the actual opposite was true, that more people listened to liberal hosts than they did the conservative hosts. But once they undid the fairness doctrine, basically the liberal hosts were wiped out. Conservative hosts basically took over. And you had the beginning of what happened next, which was the Telecommunications Act of 1996. The Telecommunications Act of 1996 eased up the ownership rules. And yes, Bill Clinton signed it, but he also had a lot of concessions and things he wanted to do. But the Republicans were looking at this much more in the way of, boy, oh boy, now we've got a handful of people controlling, 40% of this radio market, and then another conservative outlets controlling 40%, the other 40%. And so all of a sudden you went to having a variety of voices, a variety of opinions, down to 80% was one opinion and 20% was another. And that's only in the major metro areas. In rural America, that immediately wiped out anything but far-right conservative media. In rural America, it just became far-right conservative. Then they tried to go after PBS and public broadcasting, because in a lot of these small towns, the only news that they were getting that wasn't being filtered through a right-wing machine was the top of the hour news at the classical music station or the public radio station. And they wanted to get rid of the McNeil Lehrer hour. They wanted to get rid of all that stuff. They didn't want that news being presented to these people because it quite literally was the only thing there. And the miscalculation the Republicans had, because my God, once again, long game, those guys were almost able to pull this off. The miscalculation they made was when it got to the internet rising, they didn't anticipate the importance of that. But that's the question I'm asking. Are we looking at the first salvo in this war against the liberals online with the destruction of one of the largest tools used to communicate and organize the leftist causes, Democratic candidates, and the news media itself? Under the guise being that basically you wipe them out and then all of a sudden they're going to have a harder time competing down the road. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. We'll take a break. Come on back. It's the Matt McNeil Show right here on AM 950.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
As we head into the holiday season, Crooner's Supper Club invites you to enjoy drinks, a delicious dinner, and live music from both big-name local and national artists in a wide array of styles. Before or after your show, check out the new Maggie's Lounge, a perfect spot to visit with friends. It's open Wednesdays through Sundays beginning at 4:30 with cocktails and light fare. And you don't need a ticket to enjoy the great atmosphere of Maggie's. Crooner's Supper Club off Moore Lake and Highway 65. A little piece of old school nightlife in the 21st century.
Hi,
this is Chad from AM 950. Construction is arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, window, and insulation contractor in the metro. Ryan is so excited about working with AM 950 and our listeners that he wants to help us grow.
this is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. I was friends with Chad long before I started marketing with him. I was a bit skeptical of radio advertising before Chad convinced us to run ads. The advertising's been so successful, we want to help the station grow. We've absolutely loved working with the listeners of AM 950, and we all know how extremely important this radio station is to the community. To help AM 950 grow, Snap Construction will be putting up proceeds to assist the station in marketing on social media. Snap Construction encourages you to follow, engage, share, and interact on the AM 950 social media platforms. Together, we can all work to ensure AM 950 continues to thrive and grow in our communities. We stand by our work with a lifetime craftsmanship guarantee. For a free estimate or more information on our financing, call 612-333-SNAP or check us out online.
This is Ross Stadheim, partner at MJSB Employment Justice. At our firm, we specialize in cases where our clients tried to do the right thing by reporting illegal or unethical conduct and were demoted or fired. There are laws in place that protect people like you who tried to do the right thing by reporting a problem but were retaliated against. At MJSB Employment Justice, we are fearless advocates who will protect your rights and obtain justice, whether it be a Fortune 500 company or something smaller.
Be heard. You deserve better. Contact us today at mjsbjustice.com.
Billboard, baby, do a leap and make them dance when they come on. Everybody looking for a dance floor to run on.
If you wanna run away
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. Once again, Bree Johnson from MGSB Justice is going to be joining us here in just a moment. The U.S. Congress passing the Speak Out Act prohibiting non-disclosure agreements silencing survivors. We're going to talk a little bit about this because this has been something that has popped up in the news a bit, and making sure you understand what the rights you have in regards to all this is going to be. So make sure that she's going to be joining us here about 15 minutes or so. We'll I'm going to talk more about that. And then Terry Zila joins us to talk food coming up here in the 4 o'clock hour with Thanksgiving coming up here on Thursday. A reminder, too, we're live today. We're live tomorrow. We have best of shows on Wednesday, Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, and on Friday. Thank you very much. I hope you have a great holiday with all that. We actually have some very good shows set up for you coming up here for the next 3 days. So enjoy that. No, I do the most unbelievable part about this theory is that is really Elon Musk's job to basically kill Twitter. I will freely admit the one wall I keep running up against when I run this scenario is that it seems to me Elon Musk is a hothead. He's obviously a little bit of a petulant narcissist. He definitely has a hard time with anyone telling him what to do or how to do it, and he doesn't like criticism at all. And I think for me, it's easy to see him buying Twitter just because he just wanted to stop people from talking about him. He said, no one criticizes me because I bought the outlet, and basically no one dares do this anymore. The problem the problem I have with this theory is he there just to kill it because of the resource it is for a lot of people on the left. Is that, this would require him, we to a point, we want you to kill off $44 billion to do this. Then again, if this was one of the things where the Saudis said, hey, we got more money than we know what to do with, we'll bankroll a good chunk of this. It won't hurt your electric car business or SpaceX. You'll be able to do all that. That's no problem. And then once again, there are multiple people in the on the right wing of social media world who are of the mindset that this is something that has to be stopped. You have to stop the left from being able to freely communicate as well as they do. So there is a plausibility to this. And the truth is, clearly one of the things I think about Elon Musk, I don't think he's too smart, dude. I don't. I mean, is he rich? Yes. Is he smart? Well, I'm not sure about that. And I think he's the kind of guy that I could see getting played by these people. Like, hey, you see this? They're making fun of you again. Yeah, you know what? Someone should buy them and shut down all these people who are critical of you. I mean, then people would think you're a genius. Hey, that kind of does. I mean, you can kind of see the gears in Elon Musk's mind, kind of rolling there. It would hurt. I mean, one of the things I think it's that does back up this theory is I spent some time this weekend talking to friends of mine, organizers, people like this on Twitter, saying, by the way, where else are you? I'll follow you, on Insta, you're on Facebook, are you on Mastodon? I'm now on Mastodon. I got a Mastodon account, and it's a lot like Twitter. So it's an easy one to transfer to. And there's a lot of people out there who just never even ask the question of whether they should have a secondary account. And we have to go back to the days. Okay, after MySpace, in the years after MySpace, one of the things which was interesting was you generally ended up having multiple social media accounts on multiple platforms just because you didn't want to, in case one went down, not have a way to communicate. And things have really tightened up now again. And so when I talk to these left-leaning groups, I mean, a lot of them are like, oh, well, we're on Twitter and that's it. We don't really have anywhere else. And I said, are you guys planning on getting something? And she goes, well, so far we're just kind of hoping Twitter stays up. And I'm like, I don't think it's going to stay up for too much longer. And I really think that the exodus away from Twitter will be so big if I know Trump's been welcomed back here. He starts in on it. and people are going to be like, okay, enough's enough. I don't know. I will say, say one last thing here to all these people who are sitting there, I'm going to stay here and fight. What are you doing? Fight what? You already lost, man. I ain't saying this to you. You already lost. I don't know what you think. Okay, first of all, I don't really have the patience in my day to get a social media account just to have a bunch of trolls scream at me the entire time. That is not something I have time nor patience for. But what do you think you're going to do? You're going to change the dynamic? You're going to change the paradigm? You're going to mix things up? No, you're going to probably get blocked yourself because after some troll called you a bad name, you dared to say something back to them, and basically they say, well, you're going to be taken off the air. And, you act as if this is the final front. No, this is it's a private service. It's a social media company. And if this is all you've got, well, I'm sorry, you probably should be a little more expanded. But to act as if, the rest of you are quitters, I'm staying here to fight. I mean, dude, it's not a fight worth fighting. It's freaking Twitter. It was garbage beforehand. It's kind of garbage now. And so my suggestion would be is if people try to guilt you into staying, well, good luck with all that. I'm out of here. And I haven't killed the Twitter account yet, but I've pretty much, I'm posting everything now. Not only I've always posted on Twitter and Facebook, Progressive Citizen X, Matt McNeil Show on Facebook. I've now started posting on Mastodon, on all the posts on Mastodon as well. And if you so desire, you can find me there. It's at Matt McNeil Show at mstdn.party. That's where I'm at. So you can find me there. I'm posting all the stuff there. I'm anticipating Twitter going down because you tell me how they're making any money. And considering they fired off most of their employees, it's only a matter of time before something breaks there and they can't fix it. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205 is the number. Bree Johnson from MJSB Justice joins us when we do return. It is the Matt McNeil Show right here on AM 950.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I spend a lot of time in my backyard. I feed the birds and the bees. I love my flowers. The color in my garden keeps the pink in my cheeks. I was very independent, thought I could take care of myself. I fell and I had to have Meals on Wheels. I love them. They're my savior. And I look forward to volunteers because they've all become my friends.
It's Meals on Wheels.
America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Hey, John, I heard you're turning 65 this year. Time to start comparing your Medicare insurance options.
I am so overwhelmed with all the different Medicare companies and plan designs. I don't even know where to begin.
Really? I worked with compareyourmedicare.com and they made my Medicare decision seem easy.
Huh, really? Well, what do they do?
Compareyourmedicare.com represents several of the top Medicare insurance companies in Minnesota. A local licensed agent will help you compare Medicare plans to determine which products best meet your needs and budget.
Wow, that sounds a lot easier than going to a bunch of different Medicare seminars on my own.
Way easier. Just go to compareyourmedicare.com and request a free, no-obligation review. You can even schedule a virtual consultation from the comfort of your own home.
Hi, this is Jared with compareyourmedicare.com. We pride ourselves in serving our community's Medicare needs. Whether you're planning to retire early or work past age 65, we can guide you through how and when to apply for Medicare. Go to compareyourmedicare.com to schedule a consultation.
Are your remote workers putting your company at risk? Not sure what steps to take to secure your data? Hi, Mark Sommerfeld from Rymark. The Rymark team is guiding our clients through these difficult times. In fact, demand has been so high, we created an easy-to-follow guide with the 5 steps to securely work from home. It's yours free. Download our 5 steps to securely work from home now at rymarkit.com or call 328-8900 for a no-cost how-to discussion.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies today with a high near 29, tonight partly cloudy with a low around 15, and Tuesday partly sunny with a high near 36. Eat Local Minnesota is a great way to find locally owned restaurants and food purveyors. They feature high-quality food and unique eating experiences for your next meal. Some of those restaurants include Hazel's Northeast Cafe Latte and Scotch Mama's Hot Barbecue. Find a full list of all of our restaurants and food purveyors at eatlocalminnesota.com.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. The Speak Out Act has been passed, and indeed, this is one of those things where there's definitely going to be a help that's going to come for a lot of people out there with this new rule coming out of Congress. Joining us right now from MGSB Employment Justice is Bree Johnson, a partner over there, to talk about the new rules with the Speak Out Act. Hi, Bree. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well, although I was mentioning to you, you are the first in-studio guest I have had in over 2.5 years.
Yeah, that's wild. It's a pleasure to be here.
I noticed you're comfortably looking around. It's like, really, no one's been in here. Yeah, we've been a little lonely.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I'm talking on phones. This is great. It's great. Thanks for stopping on by.
Thank you so much.
How was the good drive? Everything
easy peasy. Yes.
Easy peasy. All right. You, of course, how long have you been with MGSB?
We formed the law firm a little over a year ago. Collectively, we have much more experience than that. Mm-hmm. But MJSB Justice is a new law firm as of October 2021. Mm-hmm. We've got 4 partners. We recently added another attorney. We have staff, and so it's been great for us.
What has been your specialty as far as the legal side? What have you been focusing in on?
Yeah, our law firm exclusively represents employees. So discrimination, sexual harassment, whistleblower cases, that's all we do.
Mm-hmm. And this is why we're having you on here, because there is some big changes that came with the Speak Out Act. Let's first start off by talking what exactly is the Speak Out Act and how long ago did it get passed here?
Well, actually, it's about to go to President Biden's desk. So Congress just passed it last week. Bipartisan support for this, which is pretty remarkable, and we're not talking just a little bit of bipartisan. I mean, I think the House passed it 315 to 109. So pretty widespread support.
Well, I can peg the 109. I'm pretty sure I can. Let me just start writing out names. I bet I get them all. Mm-hmm. So what was the kind of the purpose of this? Because I mean, it's funny that this is changed because of the former president we had, mm-hmm. and his insistence that his non-disclosure agreements. And then this is not just for this. I mean, his interpretation of non-disclosure agreements, or at least his lawyer's interpretation, was that even when you were in the White House, you work for the American people, that know that he supersedes everyone else. That whether it is in a case of sexual harassment or just employment secrets, whatever the case, it does not surprise me that Congress at some point said, you know what, we probably need to go revisit this issue and make sure things are a little clearer.
Absolutely. And there's been a lot of advocacy in this space, in particular because of the Me Too movement and the way that really came to consciousness to say, okay, you've got Harvey Weinstein, you've got these other actors, and a lot of these people were subjected to NDAs and they couldn't speak. And so the NDA is covered by the Speak Out Act. And so the Speak Out Act, what it does is it invalidates any non-disclosure agreement or non-disparagement agreement that you have. And those agreements that are covered by this act are those that are typically signed at the new hire stage. So before any offending conduct has occurred, I sit down, I have a new job, I'm given a packet of information and documents to sign. And typically what's in there is one of those types of agreements. And those NDAs say you can't talk about anything that happens during the course of your employment. And so that's what's covered by and invalidated by this act. And so what I learned through the course of research is over 1/3 of Americans are covered by these agreements. So yes, politics is a big industry where they're covered, but you think about entertainment, Gretchen Carlson is a huge advocate from her experience with an NDA, and she actually broke her NDA to come out publicly to speak about this. And so you have entertainment industry, politics, sports. I learned a lot of athletes, pro athletes or amateur athletes are covered by these. The gymnastics case that came out, a lot of those athletes were covered by NDAs. So it's really big in terms of the impact that this has on people's ability to speak and share about their experiences they're having while they're being subjected to that.
As a non-lawyer, one of the things that you describe here. I mean, I don't think there's anyone, I was talking about Twitter. If you work at Twitter and you're aware of the inner machinations of the computer systems and the stacks and all that works, I have no doubt that because of proprietarial reasons that there is a non-disclosure agreement. You don't just go blab to the next social media company down the road. What feels somewhat nefarious about these NDAs is, as you said, it's the broadness of it. It almost seems like we're hiring you. We know bad things are going to happen here, and we don't care. Sure, we're covering ourselves in regards to company secrets, but we're also putting in basically a preliminary strike to prevent the executive class, the management class, from being held accountable for their unacceptable behavior. I mean, that's kind of, just as a layman here, that's when you look at these NDAs today before this new legislation came through, it seems like it was a setup to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's a fair assessment of things. And what, is the Speak Out Act covers just the NDAs that are associated with sexual harassment, workplace sexual assault. So just those disputes, they're calling them. It's kind of difficult to describe what a dispute is. I think that's the vague piece of the act, is what is a dispute. But a dispute associated with sexual harassment or workplace sexual assault is covered by the Speak Out, and that's the piece that is invalidated. So any of those tangential arguments about, the proprietary information, the trade secrets, that's all still covered. And so we're just teasing out the pieces that were, like you said, kind of nefarious in terms of isolating a victim or a survivor from sharing his or her, typically it's a her experience in the workplace. So you would have a woman, if she has been subjected to sexual harassment and was covered by one of these NDAs, couldn't even tell her friends or family. I mean, the isolation that exists from that, so if someone is brave enough to report and is going through that experience through internal channels at a place of employment, still, under these NDAs, wouldn't be able to talk about it. And that's creates a lot of shame. It creates a lot of isolation. And so it's really good work covered by this.
You understand the law better than I ever will. You understand the wording a lot better than I will. But is it kind of basically, to boil it down to a nutshell, it's like, you can't break the law here. You cannot break the law. You cannot sexually assault someone. You cannot sexually harass someone. You cannot do that. And your NDAs no longer are able to cover those, period.
Yep, that's right. And it's interesting because some of the critics say, well, this is just going to lead to more litigation, because if a company wants to clear their name, now they're going to have to go out and litigate this to be able to, get into the public record in the same way that an employee is. And I think that's, painting a very broad brush and not likely to be an outcome here in terms of the company's exposure. It's just allowing that individual to speak freely. And, in those cases of serial perpetrators at a place of employment, the women or the individuals, if there's several of them who've been harmed, are going to be able to talk about their shared experience. And that's going to hopefully hold the perpetrators more accountable.
Well, and I also think for the people that are the naysayers against this, it's not 1960s. It's not 1970s. There's not a culture of silence. There are a lot of companies that they themselves are no longer tolerant of this kind of behavior. And so it is, I don't think it's going to lead to it. I think there's going to lead to more accountability. And let's face it, that's what I think a lot of the naysayers are really against, is the accountability, being held accountable for your inexcusable actions.
Absolutely.
So,
yep.
All right. So, basically, if you have a non-disclosure, now, first of all, anyone that doesn't have a non-disclosure agreement right now and gets one in the future, after President Biden signs this, done. This is going to be covered, that they can tell you can't talk about the inner workings of the business as far as proprietary, corporate secrets, but necessarily they can't break the law with you. They can't do that. I'm going to ask this question. I know this sounds kind of weird, but are there any NDAs right now where specifically say, by the way, if you are sexually harassed or sexually assaulted in the office, that's part of this NDA? Are those existing? And if they are, does this negate those?
Yeah, great question. And I think that's a line of distinction here. So the Speak Out Act covers only NDAs signed before any of the offending conduct occurs. It does not. So if there's a dispute or allegations of claims and there's a settlement agreement, most settlement agreements are going to have some sort of confidentiality provisions, and the Act doesn't touch those. And so I think that's sort of maybe, certainly there are advocates out there who are advocating that those be invalidated as well. And some states are actually looking into that. But the Speak Out Act does not cover confidentiality agreements, non-disparagement provisions, any NDAs kind of made in the course of settling claims or threatened claims against an employer or individual.
So once again, I think this is an important thing to retouch on here. If you've already been through this and then there's been a settlement, there's no do-over, there's no going back on that. That's set in stone. But if you had a non-disclosure agreement that was in place from the point of this happening, and there hasn't been any kind of agreement or a confident or agreement to drop the case, that this now does apply.
Yeah, before like kind of so long as that NDA was in place before the offending conduct. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So then what, it's, I'm going to presume just there's going to be someone, maybe not here in Minnesota, maybe somewhere, someone's going to fight this. I mean, there's going to be a case where it's going to come on down the line. They're going to say, well, this was passed after we did this. And after this, do you feel is they're going to have any success in being able to challenge that?
It's a great question. I mean, I think the perfect attorney response, right, is it depends. There's going to be gray area. I think where a company may come back and say, actually, your NDA was not invalidated by the Speak Out Act, is what we're going to define as a dispute associated with the Speak Out Act. So if I make a complaint through HR channels, for example, is my NDA, does that apply to me? If the HR process says that your HR process is confidential, it's going to get a little bit murky. I think there may be litigation in the future for sure. But at the same time, it's a very unpopular opinion to challenge this, I think right now. And in fact, what we saw with the Speak Out Act is not many companies were willing to go on the record and kind of voice their opposition to this act because it's not very popular, right? We're 5 years removed from the peak of Me Too, and it's not it's not a very supported position to say we should silence, people who've experienced this conduct in the workplace. I think there's a gaining momentum against that. So, yes, it's possible. I don't think they'll be very successful. And in fact, with states, as states kind of pick up the mantle and are passing their own laws too, we're seeing more of this momentum in that way as well.
I find it the fact that, and I mentioned Trump, there's one of them. Weinstein, you mentioned Weinstein, and there's another one. And then you also mentioned the United States gymnastics team. What I have it does not surprise me that when you factor all these together, these are worst case scenarios. You only wish this would apply to gun violence. My goodness, heaven forbid. But, what we've got here was, I imagine people that had brought this up in the past would have said something to the effect of, oh, we don't need to take care of this. This is not that bad. So it's one employee, one person. They said, she said, he said, that sort of thing. And now you've had Trump, Weinstein, the U.S. gymnastics. You have these cases where it's a systemic problem that's occurred and has truly traumatized, in some cases, dozens, if not hundreds of people, and as you said, people that can't even really legally even talk to a family member or a friend. I don't even know that they could talk to a counselor, but the reality is the feeling of this has happened to me. I mean, you look at with the U.S. gymnastics thing, all these victims all pretty much had the same thing. They felt like they were the only one. They felt like they couldn't talk to anyone else. And it was only after this started to unravel that everyone came forward and realized, oh, I'm not alone, that this has really been this has been something that's been going on for a while, and it's really the worst case scenario. Henceforth, not why you have bipartisan support to try to deal with this.
Yeah, I think it's astounding some of these serial incidents where you saw exactly what you're talking about. 10s to 20. So many survivors coming forward with the same or similar experiences and having no idea as they were experiencing it, or even a few weeks, months, even years removed from it, that there was this collection, this very powerful group, had they only been able to speak to one another. And so I think it's absolutely trying to get at that, is that isolation piece. And one of the common defenses for sexual harassment cases in the workplace is, oh, this is a one-off. We had no idea, right?
Yes, exactly.
And there's not a lot of ability to sort of rebut that in a legal process unless you have, knowledge of it happening in another situation. And so if it was covered by an NDA, and now it's not, maybe more information will come that actually this isn't the first time. The employer did have knowledge, or, there were whisperings that this had happened before, and that can be a very powerful motivator.
And we should take a quick moment here. Yes, we have mentioned these really horrific cases, but by all means, if there is anyone out there right now that's in a situation where they're being sexually assaulted, sexually harassed in the workplace, and you got an NDA and it's being held above your head, I'll basically say, first of all, you're not alone. You can fix this problem. and I'll tell people right now, we're going to take a break here, but they should probably call you and talk to you, because you can be an advocate for them to get them out of this situation.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's just a really confusing space. In some ways, some of our clients can't tell kind of what's up or down. They just feel like their hands are tied. They don't know what to do. And so, by all means, please reach out. That's what we're here for.
Bree Johnson joining us. MJSB Justice is the law firm. We'll take a break. Come on back. We'll talk a little bit more about this, because I think it's also time for us to step back and realize, really, we still have all this much work to do to get equality and equity really in the workplace. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We have to fix all this. We'll take a break. Come on back. It's the Matt McNeil Show right here on AM 950.
Hi, folks. This is Kirk Bankstad from the Minocqua Brewing Company, and I sell Choice Hard Seltzer. Choice is an all-natural, 105-calorie grapefruit-flavored hard seltzer for those who believe that a woman's reproductive decisions should remain a private matter between her and her doctor. When you purchase Choice Hard Seltzer, 5% of the proceeds go to support reproductive rights organizations in Minnesota.
Drink progressively with Minocqua Brewing. Get their Choice Hard Seltzer at Top 10 Liquors in Plymouth and Top Value Liquor in Columbia Heights. Find other Twin Cities locations at MinocquaBrewingCompany.com.
Do you have a car you no longer need but don't want to jump through all the hoops to sell yourself? Rudy Luther Toyota can help with their We Buy program. It's really simple. Go to rudyluthertoyota.com, click on the We Buy link, type in some basic information, and Rudy Luther will get you an instant and accurate offer. Then set an appointment, and after a quick verification of the vehicle, Rudy Luther will set up your payment with a check on the spot in most cases. We Buy. It's that simple. For more information or to sell your vehicle, head to rudyluthertoyota.com. That's rudyluthertoyota.com. You'll be happy for the holidays with help from the Park Tavern. Take a break from your Black Friday shopping with a delicious meal at the Park Tavern. While there, take advantage of the best shopping deal of the season, the Black Friday gift card special. Buy a $100 Park Tavern gift card, and Park Tavern will give you an additional $50 gift card for free. This deal runs on Black Friday only, with doors opening at 11 a.m. on Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park, or online at parktavern.net. Holiday savings are on the menu at the Park Tavern.
Hi, Alex of Better Futures Minnesota. Does your business or organization need janitorial services, lawn care, or snow services? Obtain a free, no-obligation estimate from Better Futures Minnesota when you mention that you heard about us on AM 950. Our supervised, hardworking, and affordable crews will handle your interior and exterior building and property maintenance needs while you help men in your community transform their lives and walk on a positive path to success. It's a win-win. To learn more, go to betterfuturesminnesota.com under Business Services.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. Bree Johnson joining us. MJSB Justice is the law firm, and we're talking about the passing and the soon-to-be signed into law Speak Out Act, and how it basically, will do a lot to stop the sexual harassment and sexual assaults and sexual, inappropriate behavior in the office. And you talked about the severe or pervasive standard, which is being lifted with this, correct?
I wish.
Oh, you wish. Okay.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, so in Minnesota, we have the severe pervasive standard under the Minnesota Human Rights Act for sexual harassment claims.
Okay.
And so that says that's one element of bringing a claim for sexual harassment, is that the conduct must be sufficiently severe or pervasive. And that's a pretty high bar. And so we're talking about, unwanted kissing, unwanted groping. You think of these inappropriate behaviors in the workplace. And often when an employee brings a claim, they have to sort of demonstrate that it was severe or pervasive. And we have one-off instances, for example, that aren't under the reasonable person standard said to be sufficiently severe or pervasive. It's not enough. And so you really have these survivors having to demonstrate the severity and the pervasiveness of the conduct they experienced. And we have had for many years advocacy to either eliminate this standard or to clarify it. The legislature, I think it stalled out in 2019 was the last pass at it. It might have been 2020. And so it's a real opportunity, I think, especially with what happened in local politics here. There's an opportunity, I think, to revisit this and ideally to eliminate this.
It would seem like what you're describing is a little bit like the drunk driver who tries to just go, well, I'm buzz driving. There's a difference here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a really bad standard, because if you put it out there in an idea that an individual can basically, go up to a certain line and it's not going to be bad enough, that it almost tells them they can go up to that certain line, that there's not going to be consequences under that rule. So.
Yeah, I think it's a real discouraging effect for an employee who wishes to take a stand and who wishes to, file a claim and try to hold the employer and the individual accountable. And we know that so many victims and survivors choose not to. And this is just yet one more bar that they have to scale across and really have to battle those headwinds of that conversation around, yes, it was severe enough, this was awful, and really having to press against this pressure that they have that the other side is telling them it wasn't severe enough, it wasn't pervasive enough, and that's a really brutal experience for someone going through that. And so some employees will drop their claims altogether because of this.
This is a good step. The Speak Out Act is a good step, but clearly, and not just on this issue, it is shockingly disturbing the amount of work we still have to do to make the workplace equitable. And it just, in my mind, I mean, it's just like, how is this difficult? And the reality is we have a system that's been put into place that doesn't want to change. And only when it seems like we have these catastrophic incidences where no one can deny them anymore, that okay, fine, then clearly we need to fix this. It's got to be somewhat, it's relieving to get something, and take this step, but the reality is realize how many more steps we have to take.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, this is a really powerful step in the right direction. 5 years in the making, really, in terms of how long people have been advocating, and much, much, much longer than that, really. But it is a bit daunting, the work that's still needed.
Obviously, I want to take the time here. If there is someone who is in the workplace right now that there is, distressing behavior that's happening here, and you don't quite know what to do, may I suggest giving Bree and MJSB Justice a call and at least explaining what's going on, because once again, you're not alone. There are people out there that are wanting to be your advocate and help you out if you're in a bad situation. It just, sometimes you might feel like you don't have any place to go, but they do have the place to call to give you a call, right?
That's right. Absolutely. We'd love to help them out.
What's the number they should call for you?
612-677-2680.
612-677-2680. And even if it's, and once again, I want to make sure we say this. Yes, we talked about these really bad cases, which really were kind of the spur of getting the Speak Out Act passed. But the reality is that it doesn't have to be something where the entire floor is being affected by it. It can just be you, and you need to make sure the individual is being heard here. Not and obviously when it's large groups, of course, but the individual as well. That's got to be make sure that their voice is being heard correct.
Yes, absolutely. That individual deserves to speak up. They deserve to have protection, and really for the perpetrator to be held accountable, and we can help with that.
MJSB Justice. That's MJSB Justice. 612-677-2680 is the phone number. I will link to everything a little bit later on. We'll spotlight this interview. I'll link to everything a little bit later on as well. Bree Johnson, kind enough to join us. Bree, thank you very much. Thanks for coming. My first live guest in forever. This has been great.
Thank you for having me.
I need to clean the studio. Duly noted. Duly noted. I haven't been around too many people lately. I got to fix this, clean things up. All right, we're going to take a break. Come on back. Thanksgiving week means Terry John Zila is joining us, our food guy. We'll talk Thanksgiving stuff when we do come back. It's the Matt McNeil Show right here on AM 950.
Cafe Latte offers made-from-scratch soups, salads, sandwiches, and mouth-watering desserts. So come check out their pizza and wine bar, or get a treat from the bakery made fresh daily. Plus, you can still do online ordering and takeout, along with gift cards. Just go to cafelatte.com and choose from their ever-changing selection of award-winning salads, sandwiches, and soups. Cafe Latte is located off Victoria and Grand and online at cafelatte.com.
During Black Friday, people get as excited about appliances as Warner Stellian is every single day. We're so excited about Black Friday that we had to start it early so we could celebrate all month long. Like free dishwasher installation on brands like KitchenAid and LG laundry pairs for up to $1,400 off. And that's before Warner Stellian's exclusive 5% savings. Plus, buy more and save with our Black Friday bonus. Add a second appliance for a $100 bonus and a third for $200 for up to $800 back. Black Friday starts now only at Warner Stellian.
Your radio station for The Resistance, The David Pakman Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. on AM 950 KTNF St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
AP News, I'm Jackie Quinn. Court records show prosecutors are considering hate crimes charges in addition to 5 counts of murder for the 22-year-old. Colorado Springs, the mayor's praising 2 people inside the Club Q bar who stepped in and stopped the gunman Saturday night.
Heroic actions of people in the bar who took a weapon, used that weapon to disable this individual.
Mayor John Suthers on ABC's Good Morning America. Court records show hate crimes charges are being prepared in addition to 5 counts of murder. The mayor of New York City says they foiled a plot to shoot up a synagogue, with one of the suspects having posted hints on Twitter.
Hate is on the rise in America, a dark cloud over our nation. It has become normalized by politicians and celebrities, amplified by social media and cable news.
Mayor Eric Adams says 2 suspects were stopped at Penn Station with weapons, even a Nazi armband. A federal jury finds a Pennsylvania woman guilty in connection with the attack on the U.S. Capitol, including a breach of Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office, but it deadlocked on whether Riley June Williams was involved in stealing a laptop. There are concerns if all 12 railroad unions don't reach a contract agreement, the U.S. supply chain could be in jeopardy. Several unions have rejected the latest contract offer. The nation's large shipping services say they're ready this year for the holiday season. Our Rita Foley reports.
The overall optimism is a sharp contrast to holiday seasons in 2020 and 2021, when more everyday items were shipped during the pandemic. Supply chain problems were a concern, and shipping companies struggled to keep up.
In World Cup action in Qatar, the U.S. ends in a 1-1 draw with Wales. This is AP News.
We tried Dynovite for gut health and immune support, and after a couple of weeks, our little Gizmo was acting like a puppy again. His coat was shinier, he had a lot less scratching and shedding, and he seemed like his happy old self.
My dog smelled and scratched constantly. We bathed and sprayed her, took her to the vet, but no results. Now, a little Dynovite in her food helps Bella keep her beautiful coat with no scratching or smell.
Get 10% off your next order of Dynovite nutritional supplements for dogs at Dynovite.com. Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dynovite.
Need a great holiday gift for that special someone? Shop Untuckit's Black Friday early access and grab the perfect style at up to 50% off. Untuckit shirts are designed to be worn untucked. They keep him looking sharp and feeling comfortable. Save big on our iconic button-downs, super soft flannels, and cozy sweaters during our biggest sale of the year. Shop Untuckit's Black Friday early access sale today for up to 50% off at untuckit.com or 80-plus stores. Untuckit, shirts designed to be worn untucked.
Black Friday is just around the corner, and Next Chapter Booksellers has some great gift ideas. Books make the perfect present since they're easy to wrap and easy to ship. Not sure what to get? The friendly staff at Next Chapter Booksellers are great at making recommendations for any age and taste. Plus, they have a wide selection of puzzles and games. But don't delay. Shop early to avoid stock issues later. Located off Snelling and Grand in St. Paul and at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
Hi, my name is Pamela Topchian. I'm a former nurse, published author, and board-certified hypnotherapist with hypnobreakthrough.com. Do you feel stuck in a rut? Finding yourself wondering if this is all there is to life? Tired of just existing? Hypno Breakthrough can help you to reduce stress, release fears, gain confidence, and reach your life's goals holistically, mindfully, and gently. So I ask you, what changes would you like to see in your life? Let's talk about it. Contact me, Pamela Topchian, board certified hypnotherapist, to schedule your free consultation, which includes a complimentary stress-reducing sample session, so you can see how it feels for yourself before any commitments are made. Go to hypnobreakthrough.com for all the information. That's hypnobreakthrough.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies today with a high near 29. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 15. And Tuesday, partly sunny with a high near 36.
Black Friday starts early at Warner's Selling and Appliance with deals you can't find anywhere else, like free dishwasher installation on brands like KitchenAid, an exclusive 5% savings, plus a Black Friday bonus of up to $800 on packages from select brands. Shop now at warnersellian.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour 2 of the show rolling through on a Monday, Thanksgiving week. Matt and Patrick here. It is the Matt McNeil Show. Good to have you with us today. Once again, we're going to spotlight the Bree Johnson interview from MJSB Justice. Little steps, but come on. I mean, it really is amazing to me that we still have as many problems as we do with inequity in the workplace. And I got to admit, there are some things that are positive that we're going to make step forwards, but I mean, we have a lot to work on there. We absolutely have a lot to work on right now. Okay, so Thanksgiving week, that means one thing. We get a nice little visit here. Terry John Zila is our cooking and food expert. He is kind enough to join us and talk about everything Thanksgiving. Hi, Terry. How are you?
I'm fantastic. And I will let you know that I'm in the car. I purposely did not take Highway 94 so I wouldn't be stuck in the Lowry Hill Tunnel mid-spot.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Which road, where are you going? Doing 694? You're going around the north?
No, I just cut through downtown. I thought to myself, I've got a beverage, I've got some cookies. I'll get through it. It's fine.
I'm sure the 4 o'clock hour in downtown Minneapolis won't be congested at all. So good luck on that.
Oh, not at all.
Not at all. Okay, first of all, I gotta say, let's bring in your Hepcat coffee over there in St. Paul. How are things going on with the coffee shop?
Actually, it's fantastic. We got a full liquor license. We started that.
Yes.
So we did that kickoff party last week, and we had about 250 people. I got to tell you, the support from the St. Paul community has been so rock star. I mean, it's just I mean, not to diss Minneapolis, but I got to tell you, the level of support that I've gotten throughout, I would have never have gotten that across the river.
Well, I want to be honest here. I think you're first of all, it's easy to see with you. Your food there is amazing. Your nice coffees, nice things. I mean, it really is. If you've not seen amazing food, it is really nice to have. But I think it's like a lot of places is that, the pandemic just did a number on a lot of places. And so I think that it's nice that St. Paul is out there showing, hey, you're willing to take the chance. We're willing to help you any way we can.
Yeah. And again, also my demeanor is very St. Paul, as I found. I think there's always this kind of the Minneapolis chef that lived their life in the chopped pose. Do you know what I mean? With their arms folded and that scowl. I kind of have this howdy doody personality, and that really doesn't fly well with a lot of people, but the St. Paulites love it. So I can be my unedited self, and it seems to be working out just fine.
Now, for all those in Minneapolis, now to be a snob towards Terry.
Well, if they haven't done it already, it probably isn't going to happen. So that list is short.
Bite your tongue, Minneapolis.
We're opening up the event center.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, the event center should be open officially in January. We're the concrete grinders there. We're polishing the concrete floors, and we may get lucky and be able to do some events the last week in December. I'll keep everybody posted. But yeah, it'll be a full event center, and I'll be the executive chef for that as well.
Nice. Well, thank God you're keeping busy. I mean, that's only the 90th job you've gotten any given day. My goodness.
Well, I got to keep myself off the pole somehow.
Well, not me. Everyone loves seeing me on the pole. That's for sure. I do some dancing there. By the way, Minneapolis folks, get over yourself. Go over to St. Paul and visit Hepcat. Where is let's make sure I get the right address. Where are you at over there?
It's in the 370 Osborne building at 370 Wabasha Street North.
It's over on Wabasha. You know where that's at. Go down there, visit, get some great food. I'm going to be over there on Wednesday. I got to pick up how many pies? I got like 8 pies I'm buying from you this year.
Oh, man, I have no idea. I've just been rolling crust all day. So.
Have you been?
Yeah, I've been a busy boy.
I got a great message from you saying there are no nuts in my crust because I have someone there that's got a little bit of a peanut allergy. Got to stay away from the pecan, but your crusts, all right, we're safe. I'm looking forward to it. Cherry pie is the best. Your apple pie is sensational. Your pumpkin pie, the chocolate silk chocolate. The kids love you for the chocolate pie alone, man.
Well, I switched to a chocolate mousse rather than chocolate silk because chocolate silk can be heavy. But the chocolate mousse, you get that intensity of the chocolate, but it's a little lighter.
Now if you're drooling and you're saying, Matt, okay, how do I get these pies? Unfortunately, I think we're past the ordering window, right?
Oh, we are.
Yes, but Terry does do these. He does other things for the year. I'll make sure I put a link to where when you have some events out there, when you do because you get like caramel cinnamon rolls, you do stuff for the holidays occasionally. I'll make sure whenever you get stuff out there that it's out there so people know about that. Okay.
Well, and also for Alley Cat, we did that pop up last week. We're doing one in January called Pajama Party.
Okay.
And then in February, we're doing Back to the 70s, so it'll be a disco theme. So we're going to start doing themed cocktail pop-ups, and that'll be fun. I think we'll probably have it on a weekend.
Okay.
So that means everyone can come, and you can just have a good time. And in January, wear your jammies. We'll have some screen televisions showing Saturday morning cartoons and a DJ. It'll be kind of fun. So
when you get to the 80s, I still have a knit tie somewhere, and I'll go get one of those. So that's and Alley Cat now. Alley Cat that's next door to Hepcat, right?
No. That was the Alley Cat moniker. Unfortunately, the bar concept, it was about 4 blocks away. We couldn't do beer and hard liquor, and God bless them, I let my buddies do their beer there. I'm not a beer guy. I don't know the business. I know cocktails and service, but we kind of let them do their thing. So they're opening Gambit in the space. But Alley Cat, the name was so spectacular.
Yes.
And it so fit with the Hepcat. I couldn't let it go. So Alley Cat's now becoming our pop-up cocktail bar.
Okay, gotcha. And that's once again in the 370 Osborne building, right?
Yep, right in the lobby.
Beautiful. All right, gotcha. We got it all. We all got it all. And by the way, when the pajama party and the 70s parties happen, make sure I know. We'll make sure everyone knows there. I'll put it out there and a link on the social media. Okay.
You got it.
Beautiful. All right. So I'm going to ask you something that has been, as Thanksgiving goes, have you had problems getting certain ingredients for Thanksgiving?
Not at all. You just got to pay for them. You talk to the loan officer, everything's fine.
Well, I mean, I'm not denying that. I mean, it's you pay, you got enough of a wad in the old wallet, you're going to be able to get whatever you need. But there have been some people I know that have basically had to pull back this year because they couldn't find certain things. Now, it sounded early.
No, I have a very broad Thanksgiving menu. We just did a Thanksgiving dinner at someone's home yesterday.
Okay.
And we had 14 side dishes, roast beef, ham. We did popovers. What aren't they finding?
Turkey. Well, I know that the news guys were talking about turkeys being hard to find, but I mean, I've gone to like 4 stores just looking around just to see where things are at, and I see plenty of turkeys. I mean, they're pricier, definitely.
Now, let's take a step back. Do these people have cataracts? Because maybe they're just not seeing them.
They just see an empty freezer case
God,
there.
They had the biggest chickens I've ever seen there. These chickens were just huge.
The Cornish game hens, they must have been from Chernobyl. They were nuclear, but I couldn't find any turkeys.
Yeah, so.
You're going to be mad at me. I got a 23-pounder, man. I got a massive one because I got a huge crew coming over this year.
But are you brining it?
Yes, of course I'm brining it. Folks, Terry told me.
Then I'm not mad at you. It'll be fine. Now, I will tell you, I did a big boy yesterday for this family that I did the event for.
Okay.
What was very fun is I stuffed butter underneath the skin, but then also I probably took about a pound of butter, I melted it, and then I poured it over the turkey cold, and then a little bit chilled, and then I roasted it, and then I continually basted the bird with butter, and I brined it. It's one of the moistest birds I've ever made.
For everyone out there, if you haven't heard any of the Terry visits we've done, the Thanksgiving turkey brine that he has, it's an apple cider brine. It's fantastic. And the turkey looks like a prop turkey. You cut into it, the juices come bubbling out of it. It is absolutely the best way to prep your turkey. And of course I'll do it. The toughest part is having to flip the bird though, because I gotta, you have to kind of rotate it over and make sure it's brining consistently. You know what I mean?
Well, no, the thing is, if you have a big enough tub and you make enough brine, you don't have to do that. So that's the whole thing. So if you have a big enough pot, you can submerge the turkey completely into the brine.
Well, I mean, I need like a kiddie pool for a 23-pounder, man. That's like I need it.
Well, that's not my problem, Matt.
Well, it is. I think I'm gonna have to completely dismantle my fridge to get it fit in there this year. I love. Okay, I want to touch on something else here, food related. Might be holiday, might not be, but it's. I'm just not too impressed with these two trends. The first is smearing butter on a wood board and then pouring stuff on top of it and then using it as a dipping tray. I don't quite get that.
No thanks. No thanks. I mean, I'm sorry. That's no. Just like dating, no means no.
Where did this come from? This butter tray where you put butter on things and then we're gonna put artichokes and olives on this, and you can actually you're just eating a pound of freaking butter off of a wood cutting board.
I think some blogger, mom of two, probably thought, let's do something different. I want to be different. You go ahead and be different.
I think they were seeing if anyone called their bluff, and no one did, and now we're stuck with it.
Well, again. But again, what's nice about that, though, is it will give their guests something to ridicule them for behind their back when they leave the party.
Well, and they do deserve that. Charcuterie. I don't know even how to say the damn thing. A few years ago, the New York Times said it was one of the largest searched things for Thanksgiving. And I'm like, what is? And there's like, it was the charcuterie board, the meat and the cheeses and stuff like this. And I said, wait a minute here. Are you saying that people actually put aside the turkey, the mashed potatoes, and the stuffing and say, hey, I want cold cuts and cheese? And I
no, that's before. You eat it before you get the turkey.
Well, but I mean, it's an appetizer.
Right. You put the charcuterie board out, and that means people can nibble, because obviously when you're making, let's say, a 23-pound turkey, it's gonna take longer than you think it is. So the whole thing is you don't want your guests to turn on you, so you put out the meat and cheese board, give them a cocktail, and say, just wait.
I'm already cooking my turkey right now. By the way, it should be done by Thanksgiving, I'm pretty sure at this point. No, okay, so I do shrimp. I like shrimp. I do some lovely Irish cheese because of a nice connection to Ireland. I get these lovely Irish cheeses. I do this, but I don't necessarily do it because my concern would be giving them too much to where all of a sudden they're not as hungry for the Thanksgiving dinner as they would be. And that's, I mean, if a good, cold cut board, I'm all for it. I like it. But I mean, it starts getting a little filling.
Well, but hunger has nothing to do with eating.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you could eat out of their hands if you think they're having too much.
It's going to be an interesting time. I'm going to have the turkey in the kiddie pool in the backyard. I'm going to be smacking food out of people's hands. Welcome to my house on Thanksgiving.
My whole thing is that, again, having a little nibble is nice. I mean, if you want to, also, by the way, on the shrimp cocktail, do you buy it pre-cooked?
I do, just because I don't have the time. Because my kitchen literally is taken over for the entire 2 days beforehand.
Well, just so you know, you can do the shrimp several days before. If you boil it, I do a little bit of milk, a little lemon juice, water, salt, pepper, sugar, pepper, salt, crab boil, Old Bay seasoning, and some red chili flakes. Bring that to a boil. Put in your like I would say 21 to 24. That means 21 to 24 pound of shrimp, tail on, but they're peeled and deveined. And then you boil those up, and they can chill for several days. They're absolutely fantastic, and you won't have a watery shrimp cocktail.
No.
When you buy pre-cooked shrimp, it's always a little watery. It's always a little flaccid.
Well, yeah, and Lord knows I can't even do that joke, man. All right, well,
put it this way: your appetizer should need a little blue pill to be satisfied.
Hey, Matt, you're looking a little flaccid on the old shrimp tray. Okay, really. All right, happy Thanksgiving. Okay, so now, by the way, that what you just described with the shrimp, oh my God, that sounds amazing. How many days beforehand can I do it? 3 or 4? Is it what's the minimum?
3. I would do 3.
3.
Right. And it doesn't take hardly any time at all.
I did cook up last night. I did cook up the wild rice. I cooked up my cranberry cocktails too. Are they the cranberry sauce? I got those done today, and they're firming up in the fridge. I did the wild rice because I'm doing wild rice stuffing. And can I just tell you, this whole show could just be the appreciation of wild rice. I love it. I think it makes a fantastic stuffing, and I think that as far as if you want to add a little Minnesota to your Thanksgiving, I think wild rice is a great way to do it.
I like wild rice and everything. Actually, there's at the food building for the state fair, there's a booth called the Gas Station, and they do a dried blueberry wild rice corn dog.
Oh my! Now you got me.
Oh my God!
Now you got me wanting the state fair.
Phenomenal.
Oh God, that sounds delicious. Oh God, I mean, it sounds like the Blue Point. You go up to the Blue Point up in Grand Marais, you can get the wild rice blueberry pancakes. They're amazing.
It's really fun too. If you boil your rice and then you dry it out, then you can deep fry it and it gets crispy.
I didn't know that. I didn't know. So,
Yeah.
but how dry do you have to get your wild rice?
Well, I mean, you could if you get the canned stuff, because I like the pre-cooked stuff.
Okay.
But that way you just kind of let it sit out on paper towels and you can deep fry it real quick. No, I have seen it. People try to deep fry the rice from raw, and it just turns to dust.
No.
But if you deep fry it after it's dried out, it's what a fun garnish.
Oh, that's okay. That sounds pretty good. I did 2 pounds of wild rice. And another thing I love about wild rice as far as cooking for Thanksgiving is it's one of those, you put it in with the hot turkey stock and you put it in the oven in a pot and let it bake for 2 hours and it's done. You don't really have to do too much with it. And that's what I mean, it's easy. And then everyone loves wild rice, especially when you do the wild rice stuffing. That's one of the reasons I love doing it.
Yeah.
So, Terry, I tell you what, can you take a break? Can you wait a few minutes when we come back and talk about some more things?
Yeah, let's chat.
All right. Terry John Zila is joining us right now. I will put out links to the Hep Cat Alley Cat stuff, as well as also if I'll try to get him to send me some of the recipes if he has a chance here, and we get those posted up online as well. 952-946-6205. We'll take a break. Come on back with Terry. It's the Matt McNeil Show on AM 950.
Hi, folks. This is Kirk Bankstad from Wisconsin's Minocqua Brewing Company, and our progressive beer is now available in Minneapolis. Yes, you Vikings can now buy Biden beer, Bernie Brew, AOC IPA, and Kamala, a strong vice presidential stout, without having to travel across the border. And the best news yet is that 5% of the proceeds of each beer you buy go to keeping Wisconsin blue.
Drink progressively with Minocqua Brewing. Get their progressive beers at Top Value Liquor in Columbia Heights and Falls Liquor in Minneapolis. Find other Twin Cities locations at MinocquaBrewingCompany.com.
We use technology every day to help manage our lives. Why not use it to help manage your medications? St. Paul Corner Drug offers several free tools to keep you on track while taking your medications. Use our mobile app to quickly order a refill, or the Meds on Q application, which turns your smartphone or tablet into your very own personal medication attendant. Email and text messaging options let you know when your medication is ready for pickup, making efficient use of your time. St. Paul Corner Drug, pharmacy the way it should be.
Electricity costs have hit historic highs, and they're likely to continue rising with no end in sight. If you own a business, those are costs that are eating away at your bottom line. But switching to All Energy Solar can help you see green instead of red. A system from All Energy Solar offers a bankable investment with energy costs that won't rise along with fossil fuels. So stop renting your energy from the utility company, because the rent keeps going up. Solar tax incentives are strong, returning up to 60% of your investment. But those credits will decrease in 2023. And with more businesses switching to solar, capacity is limited. That's why reserving your spot on the grid now has never been more critical. All Energy Solar has the experience of installing over 6,000 systems for all sorts of properties in the Midwest and beyond. Get a free no-obligation assessment from All Energy Solar's commercial solar specialists today by calling 800-620-3370 or visiting allenergysolar.com.
Hi, I'm Rachel Shamblatt. My dad is Dr. Scott Shamblatt from Shamblatt Family Dentistry. A lot of people are afraid of the dentist, but you don't have to be. My dad makes going to the dentist comfortable and even fun. He won't be mad if you haven't seen a dentist in a long time. He just wants to take care of you and your teeth. If you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
Shamblatt Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblattfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. Terry John Zila joining us talking Thanksgiving here. So is so you had a Thanksgiving feast already. Are you doing another one? I know you've in the past with charity work, which has been fantastic. You've gone out there and done some Thanksgiving meals. How many are you cooking this year?
Well, actually, the dinner yesterday was for clients.
Okay.
They had hired me. They did it early. This year, I'm going over to a friend's house. I used to hang out with them like nearly every holiday. Because of COVID, we haven't gotten together. This is our first holiday together, probably in 2.5 years, 3 years. So I'm going to go over to their house but I don't have to do anything. I'm gonna bring a small turkey breast. It's a lot of vegetarians, so there's 3 of us that would like turkey. So I'm bringing a little turkey.
Well, and that's one of the things that's nice. And it is for the first time, I think people are really, even people that were a little more hesitant are willing to go on out. I know some people are going to be careful with obviously the flu and stuff that's going on right now, but the reality is a lot of people are going to be going back out. Like I said, I'm going to have the biggest crew I've had in years at our house.
Fun.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've been cautious for this whole thing. I mean, I even stopped French kissing people at the airport because I just didn't want.
Is this random people that you were kissing, or is it
just random people? That's the thing. You got to make traveling more fun.
Welcome to Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Yeah. So, but I had to do my part, so I stopped that. But anyway, yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun to go and not have to cook a big meal. And not that I don't love cooking, but now we moved my catering kitchen over to St. Paul, and that's just been a bit of a moving from New Hope to St. Paul, and I knew I had a lot of stuff. I didn't know I had that much stuff.
Well, you did. I was at your old place, and I mean, I'm gonna imagine you're just a magnificent cook. You got a great crew that is over there helping you out there. I'm looking for the pies. I have a question about squash. Do you mind if I get into the squash details?
No, I have no squash issues. So talk.
All right. So I'm at the store and I'm looking through the squash, and they had spaghetti squash out there, which is like, okay, really? I don't know many people that do spaghetti squash on Thanksgiving, but I mean, I was thinking about, of course, I've been doing butternut squash where you cut it up, steam it up, mash it kind of like mashed potatoes, a little cinnamon, little nutmeg, a little butter, a little heavy cream in there. It's very tasty. But I always, as a kid, remember acorn squash where you cut that and you either quarter it or half it, and then you roast it with a little butter in there, a little cinnamon too. What is your favorite way to make squash?
Well, just what you said. I happen to like it like that. And sweet potatoes as well. I mean, sometimes just quartering them, leaving the skin on, make it easy on yourself. And then people can scoop it up. I am a big fan of maple syrup. So what I'll do is a little bit of maple syrup and a little bit of canola oil. You brush that on, salt, pepper, a touch of cayenne mixed with that. And then a touch of brown sugar, and then you roast those up.
Oh, that's nice. Cayenne and the brown sugar. That's going to be tasty.
And then what's nice is you can do those in advance, and then you can microwave them up.
And that's the trick is that, I'm going to have a bunch of stuff done in advance. It's always nice when you have things that are just get them in a few minutes, warm up, done, and then you're set to go. Because getting everything ready to go at the right time is the trick. If you were to acorn squash, butternut squash, what is your favorite squash flavor of all of those? Which one do you like the most?
Well, I mean, I use a lot of butternut, just because I use it in soups and all of that. I use it in salads because it's firmer. Your acorns and your spaghetti squashes are going to be a lot softer, and they cook quicker. Your zucchinis and your yellow squash, I use those sliced in gratins.
Okay.
Like I made one yesterday with caramelized onions in the bottom of the casserole dish, and I had yellow squash, zucchini, and then tomatoes layered in rows with Parmesan and salt and pepper and a little bit of thyme.
Dear Lord, that sounds good, man. And it just a complete layer of onions on the bottom?
Yep.
Nice. Oh, man, that sounds fantastic. Oh, okay. So when you brought up sweet potatoes, can I ask you this? Are you part of this revolt? Apparently, I've been seeing a lot of people going after the sweet potato casserole, the one with the marshmallows on it. And I know that for a lot of people, that's a traditional Thanksgiving Day dinner or side dish. Is that one that you are kind of against in regards to, kind of that fare? It's just too sweet for you?
No, I think the people that are against that are probably spreading butter on boards and serving up that. So I think to be against any food, as long as I think sweet potatoes, I think, are the universal food that everyone can eat. I don't think anyone's religion or dietary restrictions should prohibit the consumption of that product. But if you're against it, it's, again, why not just have it then? I don't understand why people are like, well, I want to eat healthy. Of course, as they're on their third vodka. That's fine. I don't think any food's off limit. I don't think it's not like you're serving foie gras to vegans.
Well, and the saddest part about this is there are people in their kitchen right now who have a cutting board that's designated only for the butter board. How about that? How about that fall of society?
God bless them. They can go. Excellent. I mean, I don't know. I don't understand butter smeared on a board, but if that's what if that makes them happy.
And you're putting some oil on there. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Whatever, buddy. Yeah. We want to go with that. That's one way to do it. You could always just have people put butter on their own, but fine. Okay. The last thing.
Well, it's not the act that I find. It's just the sin behind it.
Well, that's the story of my life. The act's not a problem, Matt. Let's talk about your sinning, though. I don't know if I've ever asked you what's your favorite pie. I know you make all these great pies, and if you ever get the chance to have Terry Johnzilla's, cherry pie, it is amazing. It is truly one of the best I've ever had, if not the best pie I've ever had. It is truly that great. So if you had to pick which pie you could have any slice of, which one would you have?
I mean, it's one of those things. I do really love coconut, so I make a nice coconut cream pie.
No, that's good.
And I do like banana cream pie.
You know how I've been going down to South Carolina and doing some of that trips down there to visit family. You get down there into those areas where, like the key limes, the coconuts, the bananas, they're fresher. They just know how to make that stuff. I mean, those pies are absolutely delicious. And I think part of the reason why we don't go to them so much up here is because we kind of get the Minnesota version of them.
Well, and also too, I mean, there's when you get a commercially made pie, a lot of times, like in the fillings, there's gelatin to make it stand up. And the problem is that they can be very either gluey or very gelatinous.
I would agree with you. You go down, I had a key lime pie in South Carolina that was like, this doesn't even taste like what you get up north. And I mean, and I can understand why it is so much more popular down there. When you get it, I mean, are you going to get your own coconuts, and then do you actually do the cracking of the coconuts, drain off the coconut milk and start from there?
Are you out of your mind?
So you buy the coconut nutted, I guess. I guess that's the word.
I'm not cooking on Gilligan's Island. I mean, there's a thing called convenience. I mean, for Christ's sakes, Matt, don't make my life harder.
There's Terry going, climbing another tree. Looks like he wants another pie. Sorry, Terry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Terry. I should know better. You are so busy. Hepcat Coffee, the 370 Osborne Building on 370 Wabasha in St. Paul. Alley Cats, the pop-up over there. We'll let you know about those. If you haven't been over to the coffee shop, stop on by. The Danishes, the breakfast stuff there is unbelievable. It's so delicious. And Terry, I will try my best to I think I've got the brine recipe already. If you got that shrimp recipe someplace, you want to float that to me, I'll get that posted as well this year, okay?
Okay, and also one thing on the big turkey, if you have a big knife, you can cut that bird completely in half and brine the two halves separately.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. And do I have to? Okay, I got to figure out how to do it. I'm presuming I might get in touch with you and say, okay, how do I do this?
Call me.
He'll be like, if you come in for surgery, it's like, hey, get my friend on the line here. I want a consult here. So, all right, do what next? All right, gotcha. What could go wrong?
I'll make a list.
Exactly. Terry Johnzilla, and you're just fantastic. Thank you very much, my friend. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. All my best to your friends, and all my best to everyone over there working at Hepcat and Alley Cat, and as well as on your commercial baking there. All the best to all of them, because they do such a great job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Terry Johnzilla, kind enough to join us for a Thanksgiving visit. Let's take a break. Come on back. It's the Matt McNeil Show right here on AM 950.
November is upon us, and it's time to give thanks. One thing I'm thankful for this season is for the professionals at Zero Res who cleaned my home. Their cleaning process is platinum rated by the Carpet and Rug Institute for superior extraction and fast dry time. Their patented process, which includes ZR Clean, does not contain any harsh soaps, shampoos, or detergents, and it's safe for pets and kids. And their legendary 30-day Gotta Love It guarantee means they are not happy unless you are. They will come back, no questions asked, if you are not happy with any part of your service. No hassles and no worries. Call Zero Res right now, 952-ZERO-RES, or go online at ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $139 with a free room of fiber protectant and $50 off air ducts. Call Zero Res today at 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com.
With the colder weather here, now is the time to get yourself a vehicle that can handle the winter roads at Rudy Luther Toyota. Rudy Luther Toyota has fantastic models that can tackle Minnesota at its blustery worst. The RAV4, Highlander, Land Cruiser, Sequoia, and the Corolla Cross, all of them give you the safe drive you're looking for. And the Sequoia, Highlander, and RAV4 all have a hybrid model. If my Toyota Sienna minivan tackles the snow like a pro, their entire lineup can handle the task with ease. Test drive a Toyota today at Rudy Luther Toyota, 169 and 394 in Golden Valley.
Hi, this is Chad from AM 950. Snap Construction is arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, window, and insulation contractor in the metro. Ryan is so excited about working with AM 950 and our listeners that he wants to help us grow.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. I was friends with Chad long before I started marketing with him. I was a bit skeptical of radio advertising before Chad convinced us to run ads. The advertising's been so successful, we want to help the station grow. We've absolutely loved working with the listeners of AM 950, and we all know how extremely important this radio station is to the community. To help AM 950 grow, Snap Construction will be putting up proceeds to assist the station in marketing on social media. Snap Construction encourages you to follow, engage, share, and interact on the AM 950 social media platforms. Together, we can all work to ensure AM 950 continues to thrive and grow in our communities. We stand by our work with a lifetime craftsmanship guarantee. For a free estimate or more information on our financing, call 612-333-SNAP or check us out online.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies today with a high near 29, tonight partly cloudy with a low around 15, and Tuesday partly sunny with a high near 36. Eat Local Minnesota is a great way to find locally owned restaurants and food purveyors. They feature high-quality food and unique eating experiences for your next meal. Some of those restaurants include Hazel's Northeast Cafe Latte and Scotch Mama's Hot Barbecue. Find a full list of all of our restaurants and food purveyors at eatlocalminnesota.com.
Yeah, if you haven't gone to Hepcat, man, you gotta try the Danish, man. Holy God, are they good? I don't know. There is a lot of innuendo in that segment, but hey, that's what you've listened to this show. And it is Thanksgiving. Half the things there sound dirty anyway. Time for a basting. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Yeah, it is Thanksgiving. Traditions times abound. President Biden has continued the 75-year-old tradition Monday, pardoned a pair of Thanksgiving turkeys named after his favorite flavor of ice cream while cracking jokes at his political party's better-than-expected performance in this month's midterm elections. The votes are in. They've been counted and verified. Biden said he welcomed chocolate and chip before hundreds of people gathered at the South Lawn in unseasonably cold weather. There's no ballot stuffing. There's no foul play. The only red wave this season is going to be if German Shepherd Commander knocks over the cranberry sauce on our table. The Commander is his dog, of course. Chocolate and chip each weighed nearly 50 freaking pounds. Wow. We're driven up from North Carolina on Saturday. I hope you had a trailer, because if you put them in the car with you, that was not a pleasant experience. They were checked into a room at the Willard Hotel near the White House. Yeah. Feel sorry for the guy that gets the room after that one. While the president, they basically get the Declaration of Freedom. The combination of chocolate and chip is Biden's favorite of ice cream. The president joked at the event that he could have named them Chips and Science after the $280 billion Chips and Science Act that Biden championed signed into law last year. I hereby pardon chocolate and chip, Biden declared. Before the ceremony, Biden's son, Hunter Biden, brought his toddler son, Bo, who's almost 3, outside to see the turkeys. Both gobblers were hatched in July in Monroe, North Carolina, according to the National Turkey Federation, sponsors of the turkey tradition, which dates to 1947 and President Harry S. Truman when he did that. Also, I should mention here from the Axios Twin Cities folks, going to be a busy week at Minneapolis-St. Paul International. Well, not only will Terry Zila be randomly running around there giving you a French kiss, but, you know, your day's about to brighten there with that, so enjoy. Officials expect passenger volumes over the Thanksgiving travel period to equal or surpass last year. On Wednesday, the busiest departure day of the holiday period, with more than 32,300 passengers projected to be screened at MSP security checkpoints alone. Sunday is anticipated to be the second busiest day, with more than 32,200 passengers. The MAC, the Metropolitan Airports Commission, says it's to expect more congestion on roads around the airport. Officials recommend arriving 2 hours before a domestic flight, 3 hours ahead of international departures. And that's actually not the worst plan to go with there. So 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Bob is in Columbia Heights, wanted to chime on in. Welcome on in, Bob.
Hi, Matt. Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to say that key lime pie, if you can find a good one, like you were saying, that's the absolute best.
Oh, it's good.
I can eat pumpkin pie every day.
You could. Are you the kind of person that has not only pumpkin pie starting in like October, but Thanksgiving and then sometimes even around the Christmas holiday too?
I eat them all year if I can find them.
I am that way with pecan pie, man. I could eat pecan pie all year long. I think it's one of my favorite pies, and nothing against pumpkin. I love a good pumpkin pie too. Yeah, you get your favorites and you want to have them all the time. And clearly Terry John had gotten a good coconut cream pie at one point, and that became the obsession. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, always on the hunt for that key lime.
It is hard to find. Hey, Bob, thank you very much. It is hard to find up here in the MSP area. If you do get down to the south, you get down, especially for the tropical stuff, you get down into Florida, southern Georgia, the southern parts of South Carolina, the tropical stuff, the key lime, the banana cream, and the coconut cream, it's not even the same thing. I mean, you'll have it down there. It's like, my gosh, this is amazing. We did a key lime pie in August a few years ago down there for a birthday, and it was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. Unbelievable. But here, because I can't find a really good one, and until Terry starts making good key lime pies, I got the cherry, chocolate mousse, pumpkin, an apple. I think is that it? I think it's more than enough. I mean, I don't think it's now kind of the Japanese game show. Can I eat all these pies, in one sitting and without, saying hi ho the Mario on that. So I look forward to it. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, no matter what you're going to be up to. We, of course, once again, we are here today. We're here tomorrow. We are, of course, best of shows on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and travel safe. I should say this, not trying to be Johnny Buzzkill. Okay. But KARE 11 had a story. The Minnesota Medical Association and a half dozen healthcare systems spoke Monday on the growing RSV numbers in children statewide. The groups held a news conference to raise awareness of the outbreak across Minnesota ahead of the holidays and what parents can do to keep their kids somewhat safe. Alina Health, Centracare, Minnesota Children's Minnesota Health Partners, Hennepin Healthcare, M Health Fairview, and the Minnesota Medical Association also addressed other widespread illnesses affecting children across Minnesota. That includes infections and other respiratory illnesses such as influenza A and B. In my 25 years of being a pediatrician, I've never seen anything like this, said pediatric infectious disease specialist Stacy Marushek with Hennepin Healthcare in a statement. I have seen families who just aren't getting a break. They have one viral illness after another, and now there's a second effect in the ear infections, pneumonia, prompting the amoxicillin shortages. Really? And you got shortages of amoxicillin. Okay. The rising number of children falling ill is also reportedly causing crowding in urgent cares, clinics and emergency departments, increased hospitalizations, and medical shortages. According to a press release, schools across Minnesota are also experiencing increased student and staff absences due to the spread of illness. Now, I had my one daughter, she had to have ACL surgery. She tore her ACL. So she's been out of school here for a few days. She went back to school today. I was talking to her friend that we picked up and gave a ride to school. And I said, has it been bad while we've been gone? She goes, it's really bad. A lot of people are out sick. So just keep that in mind. In the press conference, healthcare specialists urged the community to only come into the hospital if their child has persistent fever, trouble breathing, pale or blue skin, is struggling to eat or drink, or other severe symptoms to reduce crowding of emergency rooms. They said symptoms such as runny noses and mild fevers can be treated at home with over-the-counter medication. Right now, we're dealing with overwhelming scenarios with RSV and influenza, and we are trying our hardest to take care of everyone we can. Groups also urge the community to do their part to keeping themselves and their families healthy, prevent the spread of illness, including getting your flu shot, hand washing, and practicing self-care. The news release from the Minnesota Hospital Association. Here's what they suggest. Here's the following things. Stay home if you or your family are sick. Now, I have to, once again, it is amazing to me after the last 2.5 years with COVID that, and the fact that the flu season is always tough. If you're sick, stay home. Do you really want to go on out? Do you really want to go to work? I mean, I can tell you this, if your kid is sick, they don't want to go to school. And I understand sometimes that's a hard decision, but you taking a sick kid and putting them in a classroom with 25 other sick kids who are soon to be sick too, and a teacher who's about to be sick, and a teacher's aide who's about to get sick. I don't know if that's really the best thing. So just, if you're sick, stay home. Wash your hands often, cover coughs and sneezes with a tissue, but not your hands. Clean frequently touched surfaces, such as doorknobs and mobile devices. All right. I'm going to be spraying down everything in this studio before I leave, FYI. Avoid close contact with sick people. That's all right. Patrick's on the other side of the window over there. Stay over there, man. Oh, okay. Not sick people, ill people. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Mask when appropriate. Stay up to date on flu shots, COVID-19 boosters. Flu shots are recommended every year for adults, kids 6 months and older. COVID-19 vaccine boosters are recommended for adults and children 5 and older if it has been at least 2 months since their last vaccine dose. People who recently had the COVID-19 infection consider delaying the booster until 3 months after the first positive test when symptoms started. Consider urgent care primary healthcare provider consider urgent care or primary healthcare provider or telehealth options for non-emergency care, and have a primary care provider for your prior family and stay connected and up to date. I mean, kind of basic stuff. You got to be careful. And I get it. You're looking forward to Thanksgiving. You're looking forward to spending time with family and friends. I get that. But if you're feeling really bad, especially if there's anyone that's coming over that might be susceptible to illness, you want to be careful with that. If you can. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. And if I can say, I can understand how you might look and say, well, Matt, all you're doing is trying to find the negative here. You're just trying to find the negative. No, I'm not. I want to be careful here. I want everyone to have a safe time. I just don't want to see this flu virus go crazy because people are just, almost refusing to be careful at all in the post-COVID world because we're tired of it. And hey, no one's more tired than me. Trust me, no one's more tired than me about masks and all these things. But you know what? I don't want to get sick. I don't want my family to get sick. I don't want you to get sick. I don't. You want an example of finding the negative? There was a news story. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday that they put out. They were talking about city streets getting some new needed lights because it's tough there. It was a Star Tribune story. They got an ambitious street lighting program in the city of Minneapolis. All right. They got a lot of places where it's dark. They want to put up some street lights to make it a little safer. All right. Sounds good. The Star Tribune, their mentality, here's the headline. Night sky advocates worry Minneapolis' ambitious street lighting program will turn out all the stars. Okay. You don't have to work so hard to find the negative. Now, hey, I love space too. I love the stars and the planets. I think one of the most amazing things that happened this last year was being up at 4:30 in the morning at Rocky Mountain National Park and looking up in that sky and I couldn't believe how many stars and planets I could see. I could only see the same amount of planets, but I could see the stars. It was unbelievable. Just truly unbelievable. The amount that were out there. It's spectacular. I'll be the first to say it. That being said, if I live in a place where there's a crime issue and occasionally violent crimes and occasionally murders going on, and I have a dark street outside my house, I don't think I'm going to be too happy if I'm being mugged in a dark street. I'm not going to be sitting there going, hey, I'm getting mugged, but hey, look at all the stars. That's great. Hey, ow. Hey, look, it's Orion's belt. Isn't that fantastic? Ow. Help. I don't think we have to try so hard to find the contrarian point. I just don't think we have to do that. And I try not to do that when I talk about this stuff, flu, COVID stuff. But I mean, a reminder: I have friends that I lost. I have friends who lost family. I have friends who have had long COVID. I'm never going to. I'm going to trust medicine. I'm going to trust science, because you know what? They're trying to save our lives, and that's that. I not saying don't go to get together. I'm not saying you don't go out and have fun, but I can say just be careful. And if you're sick, you probably want to stay home with the consequences of that. I don't look at that as not necessarily to bring you Matt's doom and gloom hour, finding the negative. But I will say this: if you're saying, we should allow more muggings in the city because who doesn't love seeing Saturn in all its brilliance? No, I think that you are that's trying way too hard to find the negative. There it is. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Let's take a break. Come on back. It's the Matt McNeil Show on AM 950.
Hi, I'm Mary T. of the Mary T. family of companies. Our new Camellia Rose Assisted Living and Memory Care is a bold reimagining of what assisted living can be. Our emphasis is on creative meals, outdoor walking paths, and a spectrum of restorative therapies and activities. We are founded on a history of care. We are dedicated to enriching lives. Learn more about Camellia Rose Assisted Living and Memory Care by visiting marytinc.com.
Progressive change doesn't just happen. It takes dedication and a lot of hard work. 25 years ago, the Data Bank pioneered a new generation of software tools for progressive organizations here in Minnesota. Since then, thousands of organizations have used the Data Bank to create progressive change. Today, the Data Bank continues to help progressive organizations like AM 950. To have the Data Bank help your organization build capacity and create more change, text CHANGE to 612-540-0500 or go to thedatabank.com. The Data Bank, a quarter century of dedication and hard work for progressive organizations.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. Over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding and keeping a job if they have dependable transportation. A car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
Seward Co-op is now offering convenient self-serve and prepackaged hot options and salad bars at both the Franklin and Friendship stores. Breakfast items available daily until 11 a.m. and brunch served all day every Sunday. Their weekly lunch and dinner menus highlight cuisines from around the world. They offer vegan, vegetarian, and gluten-free options daily. 95% of the ingredients used are organic from small-scale, local community food producers whenever possible. More at seward.coop.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, the Matt McNeil Show. I will say the one bit of major news here. Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar responded to Kevin McCarthy's comments, stating he would remove her from a committee as Speaker of the House, calling it an effort to single her out. McCarthy, the California congressman who could become the Speaker of the House after Republicans took control of the chamber in the 2022 midterms, appeared on Fox News' Sunday morning features. Now, granted, they go on there and they basically put out the most red meat they can, but he did actually repeat this in a tweet later on in the day. McCarthy, who said who will need a majority vote to become Speaker. Republicans gain control of the House in their most recent election, but 4 Republicans have already signaled they will oppose him, according to the Washington Post, meaning his election is not guaranteed, which is hilarious. If he fails, that would be just delightful. During the interview, McCarthy said he would remove House Democrats Eric Swalwell, Adam Schiff, and Omar from certain committees because he's a petty little man. In Omar's case, McCarthy said he would remove her from the House Foreign Affairs Committee, saying what he called anti-Semitic comments. Look at Congressman Omar, her anti-Semitic comments that have gone forward. We're not going to allow her to be on Foreign Affairs. By the way, Congressman, if you're upset about anti-Semitic comments, boy, oh boy, there is a political party that seems to have a lot of anti-Semites in it in this country. That they say they love Israel, but they hate the American Jewish community immensely. You might want to check in on this. Let me check my notes. Far-right Republicans. Those. You're not going to upset those people. Their anti-Semitism is okay. You're all right with the far-right extremist anti-Semitism, but Ilhan Omar, okay. All right, fine. McCarthy, basically, he put that out in a Sunday tweet as well. In response, Omar criticized comments made by McCarthy and other Republicans that she called anti-Semitic. She also pointed McCarthy's support for Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene and the Minnesota Congressman Tom Emmer. At the same time, they've openly tolerated anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim hate, and racism in their own party. It's true. Newly elected whip Tom Emmer said prominent Jewish Democrats essentially brought control of Congress, and McCarthy himself accused Jewish Democrats of trying to buy elections, Omar said. Heaven forbid that come back and bite you. Instead of doing anything to address the openly hostility towards religious minorities in this party, McCarthy is now lifting up people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Emmer, and so many others. If he cared about addressing the rise in hate, he would apologize and make sure others in his party apologized as well. She called the comments an effort to single her out. McCarthy's effort to repeatedly single me out for scorn and hatred, including threatening to strip me of my committee, does nothing to address the issues our constituents deal with, and it does nothing to address inflation, healthcare, to solve the climate crisis. She said, no, they basically, what's hilarious is this feeling like Jim Jordan and Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about how we're going to do all these things to stop all this stuff from going on. Like they're going to go after the special counsel that's been appointed to investigate Trump without even realizing there's a lot in their own party that don't want Trump to go forward. And the special counsel could be the easiest way to get him out of the way. So I think they're setting themselves up that they have this mentality, which is incredibly fraudulent, that they've got somewhat of a majority, enough of a majority that they are going to be able to push through whatever they want. And the reality is McCarthy is no guarantee that he is going to become the speaker. There is no guarantee McCarthy is going to become a speaker. And it could come on down to what I think. Okay. Do I think McCarthy eventually will be speaker? Yes. Because what I think will happen is the moderate Republicans, if there is such thing anymore, I think there's about 4 or 5, because the people right now that are saying they don't want McCarthy to be the speaker are the far-right extremists. They feel like that he works too much with the other side. So what I think will happen is if it starts looking like the moderate Republicans will work with the Democrats and elect a speaker, there'll be one final Hail Mary to every Republican saying, here's the deal. If you basically don't get on board and do this, you're going to have someone who's going to be sympathetic to the Democrats as speaker, and that's the last thing we want to do. And then I think that will seal McCarthy's win, but it's no guarantee. But that being said, I think that the idea that Minneapolis itself doesn't deserve to have a representative because they disagree with Ilhan Omar and her perspective. I would say this once again, if you are against anti-Semitic politicians, the political party you need to look at right now is the Republicans, not the Democrats, because the far right of the Republican Party is just littered with anti-Semitic mentality. But that being said, I think this is far more to do with Islamophobia and hatred of Muslims than it does with anything legitimate. But that's the Republicans. Native Roots Radio is in the 6 o'clock hour. Enjoy that. We're back tomorrow. Till then, see ya.
Hi, I'm Peter Solak.
And I'm Adam Ostrowski.
We are here at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces to talk about outdoor